Okay. Good evening. Good evening. Online audible visible. Good evening. Online. Good evening. Yam. Good evening. Pradeep. Chaitanya. Good evening. Okay. Now is it audible visible? Okay. Yes. Yes. Okay. Now the first and the foremost one here is the revision of our last class. Now in the last class we have discussed about the three major important things. What are the three major important things? In your last class only we have discussed about the first and the foremost one, we call it as what is geography andrenu, and the second one geography ಏನಕ್ಕಾಗಿ study ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, it is why we need to study geography, and the third one we call it as how to study about geography. Okay. Vinayak, good evening. Shweta, good evening. I hope it is audible now. Okay. The first and the foremost one, under what we have discussed about the first and the foremost one, the introduction towards our geography. Now introduction discuss ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ we have discussed about, it's a Greek terminology. It talks about what? Which talks about the study of the complete concept called as the earth. Okay, no? We have seen this. And the second one we have discussed about the types of what? The types of the geography also. Which includes the physical geography and the second one we call it as exactly how the human geography. And the third one we have discussed about, it is economic geography. This we have discussed about why we need to study geography. Majorly because of marks. And the third one we have discussed about the strategy also. How to study and what to study, and we also discussed about the reference books also. Yes, this was the revision of our last class. Now coming to the first and foremost one. Okay, still echoing. Okay. Now the first and foremost one, we'll be starting with respect to what? It is the chapter 1. The chapter 1 of our geography. Now chapter 1 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಸರ್ ಅಂತ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ, ಅಂಡರ್ ಆರ್ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ 1 now online, is it echoing or it is clear? Now, okay. Now I think it's perfect. Okay, now it's better. Okay. Now, the first and foremost one, chapter 1. Now, while discussing about chapter 1, the first one here is the introduction. It is, we call it as Introduction to Geography. The chapter 1 talks about Introduction to Geography ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. Now sir, ಈ Introduction to Geography ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಯಾವ್ಯಾವ ಥೀಮ್ಸ್ ನ ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ? It is, we will be studying about only 3 themes. ಈ 3 themes ಮಾತ್ರ ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. It is, ಯಾವ್ಯಾವ themes ಇಲ್ಲಿ? First and foremost one, it is theme 1 or the theme A ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. Theme A, a theme B, and the third one we call it as a theme C ಅಂತ. Now theme A ನ ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ we will be studying about a concept called as, it is the general concept about earth ಅಂತ. The general concept about earth will be studying this under our the first part, we call it as the part A, first one. And the second one, with respect to our part B, we will be studying about the basic concepts called as what is latitude. Kelidira, what is latitude and longitude andre enu anta? What is latitude and longitude andre enu anta? We will be studying under, it is the section, the B or the theme B nalli. These are, it is the second theme. And the third theme, while discussing about our section C, we will be discussing about the different types of motions. Now, what do you mean by motions, Andre? Movement. Motions is nothing but the movement. Now, while discussing about the motions, we will be discussing about the 2 types of motions. One we call it as the rotation. As simple as that, exactly how do. One we call it as a rotation. And the second one we call it as revolution. Okay, we'll be studying one by one. This is our the theme or the complete blueprint about this complete chapter called as the chapter 1. That is Introduction to Geography. Introduction to Geography. Under Introduction to Geography, we will be discussing about the first one called as Earth, and the second one will be discussing about what is latitudes and longitudes. And the third one will be studying about rotation and revolution. Okay, Alva? Now, idrinda, there must be at least a question. Nothing but one question mandatory again, or there will be the 2 marks. Yes? Okay, Alva? If we study now, first one heading called as, the first one, it is the theme 1. We call it as the theme 1 or theme A. The theme A, we call it as Earth anta. Now, what do you mean by Earth? What do you mean by Earth? Now, we Earth na study madbekadre, what should be our blueprint or what should be our strategy? Exactly online? Yes. Okay, exactly Pradeep, Bapu, exactly. It is SM, Danya, exactly how. Okay, now, if I want to discuss about Earth, what should be our strategy or what should be our blueprint? What blueprint is it? It is, we need to discuss only and only about 3 approaches. One, I said, the sub-classification or other. It is, Earth na study madbekadre, we will be discussing about only 3 things. In Artha madkoli, I'll be discussing one by one. It is the first and foremost one, Earth study madbekadre, I'll be first discussing about what? It is introduction again. It is about introduction, first one. A second one, we will be discussing about the salient features. We'll be discussing about the salient features of Earth. And the third one, nam Earth in the uniqueness. What is the uniqueness about Earth? We'll be discussing one by one. Okay, now sir, the first and foremost one, what do you mean by Earth? What do you mean by Earth? And what is the color of the Earth? And what is the shape of the Earth? Earth andre enu? Bebe bhayabidbekiga. Now, as simple as that, Earth, it is present in our solar system. Haudalva? ನಮ್ಮ ಒಂದು ಸೋಲಾರ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಪ್ಲಾನೆಟ್ಸ್ ಇದಾವೆ? ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಹೌ ಮೆನಿ ಪ್ಲಾನೆಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಇದು ನಮ್ಮ ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್, ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಅಸ್ ವಾಟ್? ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಅಸ್ ಸನ್ ಅಂತ. ನಾವು ಸನ್ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಹೌ ಮೆನಿ ಪ್ಲಾನೆಟ್ಸ್? ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ 8 planets. We have 8 planets. Now those 8 planets are being divided into it is two sections. The two sections, the first and the foremost one. The first and the foremost planet ಯಾವ್ದಿಲ್ಲಿ? Nearby planet. We call it as Mercury ಅಂತ ಕರೀತೀವಿ. We call it as Mercury. And the second planet we call it as Venus. Now this Venus is also called as Earth twin planet anta. And the Earth we call it as the third planet, we call it as Earth. Now this Earth is also called as the planet anta karithivi. It is blue planet. Why it is called as blue? Because 70%, 70% ashtu it is present with respect to what? 70% of our Earth is made up of water. It is made up of water. Because of this, Earth has been classified as what? The blue planet. The blue planet. And the fourth one we call it as Mars anta. Mars admele we have a region called as which region? Yes, exactly, yes. We have a region called as the asteroid belt. Example question ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. Now sir, asteroid ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಸರ್ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ it is as simple as that. It is the sub part of rocky substances. The sub part of rocky substances we call it as asteroid. Now the asteroid ಯಾವ್ಯಾವ ಮಧ್ಯೆ present ಇದೆ? It is present between Mars and it is present between the largest planet we call it as yadu? Jupiter. The largest planet we call it as the Jupiter. Exactly, yes. It is present between Mars and Jupiter. Adadmele we have the next one we call it as the Saturn. Adadmele Uranus, and the last one we call it as Neptune. The last one we call it as Neptune. And sir, illu kuda there is some debris. There is some debris. Majorly it is made up of what? Dust particles. Illadre rocks idavili. Whereas illi we have what? The dust particles and icy materials. And this belt we call it as yav belt illi? It is Kuiper belt. This belt we call it as the Kuiper belt. It is a Kuiper belt anta karitivi. It is majorly the farther from the sun. Illige nama ಒಂದು solar system end ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. It is after this we call it as our outer solar system, or we call it as the outer solar system or the outer planets. Now sir, normal ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ it is Mercury ಬಗ್ಗೆ already ಹೇಳಿದೆ. It is nearest planet. And it is also called as what? The smallest planet anta. It is also called as the smallest planet. Ati chikkadaada planet yavudappa antandre it is the Mercury. And the second one with respect to it is Venus ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ it is Venus, and already ಹೇಳಿದೆ it is also called as ಏನಿಲ್ಲಿ Earth's a twin. And the second one, this Venus is also called as the brightest planet in our solar system. Now sir, ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಸರ್ ಬ್ರೈಟ್ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ because of the presence of carbon dioxide. It is also called as what? Okay na, fast ಇಲ್ಲ ತಾನೆ? It is also called as the brightest planet. ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಸರ್ brightest ಅಂತ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ the atmosphere is made up of what? It is a greenhouse gas, nothing but carbon dioxide. Atmosphere is made up of the carbon dioxide. Yes, I important one. And the third one I said the blue planet. Now Earth ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಆಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಸರ್ ಅಂತ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ it is which planet has the highest density? Highest density ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ planet ಯಾವುದು? It is Earth. Sir, density ಏನು ಸರ್ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ the compaction is tighter. The compaction is the tighter. We call this Earth as the denser planet. we call this planet as the highly the densest planet in our complete solar system. Whereby it is Mercury again, or I can say it is after this we call it as Mars. Now Mars again, it is Mars, we call it as how type of planet? It is red planet. Why it is red? Why it is red? Because the surface is made up of iron. It is iron and matter. It look like what? It look like, I can say, the red in color. It is red in color. Now recently our India has reached to the surface of Mars also. Which is that mission? It is exactly how we call it as the MOM mission. What is MOM? It is Mars Orbiter Mission. Mars Orbiter Mission. It is also called as Mangalyaan mission. It is also called as Mangalyaan. The mission. India is the only country which has been successfully landed on the surface of the Mars in the first attempt. India is the only country, and India is the first country also to land it on the Mars. This is our importance, or this is about the achievement of India also. And this is the first interplanetary mission. Internally, it is outside my planet. I am reaching it to the other planet. I have discussed about the rocky, the layer we call it as rocky and the rocky bayalla. It is rocky substances, nothing but the rocks, the subparticles of rocks, we call it as asteroid. Jupiter we call it as we call it as Jovian planet. Jupiter is also called as the Jovian planet, and this Jupiter is also called as the largest planet in our solar system. The largest planet in our solar system. Exactly, yes. The Shukrayana also. Shukrayana it is to Venus. It is to Venus by the year 2027 astrally. The Shukrayana mission. Shukrayana mission. Example direct questions. It is Shukrayana mission. And the second one, sir, Saturn has beautiful rings. It is Saturn has the beautiful rings. It is, we call it as a beautiful rings. And which planet has the highest satellites? Natural satellites. It is Saturn. Jupiter Allah. Earlier it was Jupiter. But according to recent it is according to International Astronomical Union International Astronomical Union they have said that it is Saturn has the maximum satellites, but not Jupiter, exactly, yes. Saturn has, it is 146 in and around approximately it is 146 satellites are being present with respect to Saturn. This is about it is the largest number of, I can say satellites. And the last two we call it as Uranus and Neptune. Uranus and Neptune, both these are called as the twin planets. The planets. Okay now. Yes, at least basic brush up okay now. I'll be discussing one by one. It is but gotirli idea. Now sir, now the complete 8 planets are being divided into anything. It is divided into the two types. One we call it as the terrestrial planets, and the second one we call it as gaseous planet. Now what is the difference between terrestrial and the gaseous? Now terrestrial and it is, what do you mean by it is terrestrial? What do you mean by terrestrial planets? And the second one we call it as gaseous planet. It is the gaseous planet. In a difference is what is terrestrial, and the second one we call it as the gaseous planets. As simple as that, the planets which are present near to the parent star. Now what are the parent star here? It is sun. Now near to parent star we call it as the terrestrial planet. And this terrestrial planet, it is also called as Earth-like planets. It is also called as Earth-like planets. Now, sir, Earth-like planets andre density kadme irutte, density ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರುತ್ತಾ? Now density ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ will it be in the form of solid ಆಗಿರುತ್ತಾ? Will it be in the form of liquid or gas ಆಗಿರುತ್ತಾ? It is automatic agi, it is more the compaction andre it is solid. Now it will be in the form of what? It will be in the form of the solid. Example basic questions ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಇದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ. It is the terrestrial planets is as simple as that. It is Earth-like planets, nothing but it is in the form of what? A solid. Now solid, highest solid ಇರತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಯಾವ್ದಿದು? Highest solid ಇರತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು we call it as Earth. Earth has highest density. Earth has what? Highest density anta. Okay alva? This is about our terrestrial planets. Now sir, gaseous planet andre enu? It is what is gaseous a planet? Now gaseous planet, it is also called as the Jovian planet anta. Now what do you mean by Jovian? What do you mean by the Jovian planet? What do you mean by the Jovian? Now Jovian, as simple as that, Jovian andre Jupiter-like planets. Jupiter-like planets, we call it as Jovian planet. Now idರ location ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ ಇದು ಹತ್ರ ಇದೆ, ತುಂಬಾ ದೂರ ಇದೆ ಸನ್ಗಿಂತ. It is farther from the sun alva. It is farther from the sun. We call it as Jovian planets. It is also called as the gaseous planet. Exactly perfect online. Exactly Anu. Exactly Pradeep. Yes. Okay alva. It is highly denser, whereas this is highly. It is density ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಇದು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. It will be lesser. Nothing but because it is in the form of what? It is in the form of the gaseous one. Nothing but it is denser. Now, one curiosity question ಕೇಳலாம். Now, as simple as that, now sun will be having higher temperature. Now, ತುಂಬಾ temperature ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದ್ದಾಗ, now don't you think the nearest planet will be experiencing higher temperature? Now, higher temperature ಇದ್ದಾಗ, how can you say that the planets will be in the form of solid? Hope you getting? ಈಗ ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ನಾನು ಬಿಸಿನೀರ್ನ ಹೀಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ or ನೀರ್ನ ಹೀಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ will it be in the form of solid or will it be in the form of liquid or gas ಆಗಿ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಿರುತ್ತಾ? It is gas ಆಗಿ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಿರುತ್ತೆ. Now if that is the case, don't you think the planets which are present near to the sun should be experiencing the gaseous, the matter? Whereas ದೂರ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು, because of the lesser temperature, it will be in the form of what? It will be in the form of a solid. Reverse ಆಗುತ್ತೆ actually. Yes or no? Yes. ಹೌದಾ ಇಲ್ವೋ? Actually ಆಗ್ಬೇಕಿತ್ತು. But ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಸರ್ ಆಗ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ, because of what? Because of absence of atmosphere. Because of absence of atmosphere with respect to the terrestrial planets. Whatever the heat which has been released by the planets, it has been escaping into where? Escaping into the external atmosphere. Or as simple as that, it is escaping towards the outer space. Outer space escape ಆಗ್ತದೆ. And that's the reason it is leading to what? It is leading to settling and converting it into the solid matter. But not able to discuss mana, but as of now, it is nim curiosity ಎಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕು ಇಲ್ಲಿ. If it is near to the higher temperature, there must be the solid. Now there must be what? There must be gaseous one, but it is solid. Sir, ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಸರ್ solid ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ because of the impact of the solar flares ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, or it is also called as solar winds. Because of the impact of solar winds, all the atmosphere which are present with respect to Mercury, with respect to Venus, the Earth and Mars has been eroded. Now eroded ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? Automatically whatever the heat which has been released from the deep part of our interiors, it can be Earth ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, it can be Venus, it can be the Mercury, it is escaping towards where? It is escaping towards the external atmosphere, and that is leading to what? It is condensation. Now condensation ಆದಾಗ it converts it into solid. It converts it into a solid, whereas with respect to outer planets ಇದಾವಲ್ಲ, it has a thicker atmosphere. Be cautious here. Now thicker atmosphere ಇದ್ದಾಗ heat release ಅದು ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ಈಗ ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ heat release ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ it is ಗೋಡೆ ಇಟ್ಟಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? It will reflect back. Automatic ಆಗಿ it is my chamber will be hot. Yes or no? Yes. ಈಗ ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ AC ಇದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ? AC ನ ಒಂದು ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ರೀಚ್ ಮಾಡಿ it is complete 90 degree ಅಚೀವ್ ಮಾಡಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡಿ. This room will be having complete 90 degree. Why? Because this complete wall has reflective capacity. Because of this reflective capacity, this planets will be having what? Will be having the gaseous materials. Example ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. Now which one has higher atmosphere ಅಂತ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ it is ಯಾವ higher atmosphere ಇದೆ? It is the gaseous or the terrestrial one. It must be gaseous. It must be gaseous. The basic one ಇದನ್ನ ತಪ್ಪು ಮಾಡಿ ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. It must be higher one. I'll discuss all those things, but just I'm hinting you. It is how to study this geography. How to study the geography. Exactly, yes. Okay, alva? Yes. Second one is obviously it is the gravity also. It is gravity ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ gravity ಇರುತ್ತೆ? Solid ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, liquid ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರುತ್ತಾ? It is solid. The solid will be having higher gravity. No sir, higher gravity ಇದ್ರೆ don't you think it need to absorb or it need to capture more the atmosphere? Capture ಮಾಡಬೇಕಿತ್ತು, but ಈ gravity ಗಿಂತ more impact is coming from where? The solar winds. More, ಈಗ for example ನಾನು 50 kg ಇದೀನಿ, ಈಗ ಯಾರೋ ಒಬ್ಬ ಮನುಷ್ಯ 100 kg ಬಂದ್ರೆ can I fight with him? No. Automatically his force is more than my force, and that is the comparison between the sun and earth. ಸರ್ ಇದು ಸ್ಯಾಟಿಸ್ಫೈ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಸೋಲಾರ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ 98% is made up of sun. 98% be cautious here. ಇದನ್ನು ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. 98% is made up of sun, and in ಮಿಕ್ಕಿದ್ದು 2% ಯಾವುದು? It includes planets, it includes our satellites, it includes our asteroid belt, it includes our Kuiper belt, all those things. Yes, okay ಅಲ್ವಾ? It is ಗೊತ್ತಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ. Now sir, ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಸರ್ ಅಂತ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ, now to satisfy or to address the first and the foremost one, we call it as introduction. First and the foremost one we call it as introduction. Now sir, introduction ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ we will be discussing only and only about 3 things. Now first and the foremost one, ನೀವು earth ಅಂತ ನೆನಪು ಬಂದ ತಕ್ಷಣ it is, can I say earth is a part of our solar system? ಹೌದೋ ಇಲ್ವೋ? It is first and foremost ಬರಿಬೋದಾ ಇಲ್ಲಿ? It is earth is a part of what? Part of the solar system. ಬರಿಬೋದಾ ಇದನ್ನ? Obviously yes. The first one and the second one, sir, earth is also called as what? The blue planet anta. It is earth is also called as the blue planet. Why it is called as blue? It is as simple as that. Which percentage? The 70% of the earth is being filled with exactly water. It has been filled with water. This is about our second one. Okay, and the third major important one, on ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ analysis ಮಾಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ, now the earth, can I say it is a part of our terrestrial planets or the gaseous planet? It is terrestrial planet. It is as simple as that. It is a part of the terrestrial planet. Okay alva? ಈ 3 ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ನ it is, I hope there is no controversies or there is no doubt also. Okay na? This is our first one. And the second one, salient features of earth ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ, now salient features of earth. Now sir, the first and foremost one, now what is the shape of the earth? We'll be addressing the cautious. The first and the foremost one, it is while discussing about the salient features of the earth, we will be discussing about the first and the foremost one, location. What is location? What is the location of the earth? Now can I say location of the earth here is the third planet from our solar system or the third planet from our sun? Okay na? First one done. And the second one, now sir, earth ನೋಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾವ ತರ shape ಇದೆ? It is as simple as that. Earth is in the form of earth-like shape. Yes or no? Seriously, I'm saying it is earth in the form of earth-like. Now, sir, earth-like ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಸರ್ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ it is in the form of geoid. It is geoid ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? Earth-like ಅಂತ. It is as simple as that. It is geoid. Now, what do you mean by geo ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? Earth. Oid is nothing but what? Earth shape. Yes or no? Exam ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರ ಸರ್ ಇದನ್ನ ನಾನು It is exam ಅಲ್ಲಿ they'll be giving a option called as oblate shape anta. It is they'll be providing an option called as the oblate shape. Be cautious here. It is be cautious. Earth is in the form of what? The geoid shape, or it is also called as the oblate, the spheroid shape, or as simple as that, oblate shape anta. Oblate shape. Okay alva? Now sir, ee oblate shape andreno, geoid shape andreno? Earth-like, okay. Earth-like is fine, but what is the clarification about oblate? In kanutte. Now oblate ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ this we call it again ಇಲ್ಲಿ. It is our complete earth. Now complete earth ali will be adding what? An imaginary lines. Imaginary line. Now exact agi earth na divide ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ we call it as ಏನಿಲ್ಲಿ? It is equator. Now what is equator? It is dividing our earth into the two equal halves. The two equal halves, we call it as equator. We call it as equator. Now equator ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ. Equator is nothing but it is I will be dividing my complete earth into it is two equal halves. The two equal halves. Now sir, ಇದನ್ನ can I call this equator as 0 degree? Now earth line ಕಾಣುತ್ತಾ? No, it is nothing but an imaginary line. It is an imaginary line. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಇದನ್ನ? I have given this line as 0 degree. I have mentioned this imaginary line as the 0 degree imaginary line. Now this imaginary line divides it into two things. Now anything it is 0 degree ಗಿಂತ north ಇದ್ರೆ we call it ಏನಿಲ್ಲಿ? Northern hemisphere. Anything to the south of 0 degree we call it as southern hemisphere anta. Equal half ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಇದೊಂದು ಭಾಗ ಆಗತ್ತೆ, ಇದೊಂದು ಭಾಗ, and this we call it as northern, and the second one we call it as southern hemisphere. Northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. Now sir, and this region we call it ಏನಿಲ್ಲಿ? It is pole. ಯಾವ pole ಇದು? It is 90 degrees north pole ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. 90 degree north pole. 90 ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಆ 90 ಅಲ್ಲ. It is 90 degrees the south pole anta. 90 degrees the north pole, and the second one we call it as 90 degrees south pole. Exactly, yes. Okay, it is divided into two things. One we call it as the southern hemisphere, and the second one we call it as the northern hemisphere. Now say okay sir. Now what is the explanation or what is the justification of this? The geoid shape. Now geoid shape ಹೆಂಗಿರುತ್ತೆ? It is equator ಹತ್ರ ಒಂಥರ ಬಲ್ಜ್ಡ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ನೋಡಿ ನಾವು ಹೊಟ್ಟೆ ಹೆಂಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ? It is ಹೊಟ್ಟೆ ಬಲ್ಜ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತಲ್ವಾ? It is in the form of the bulged shape. Whereas ನಮ್ north and towards the south it is flat. ಈಗ ನೋಡಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಹೆಡ್ ಹೆಂಗಿದೆ? It is flat. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ it is ನಮ್ ಕಾಲು it will be in the form of flat. Nothing but at the poles it is flat. Whereas at equator it is in the form of bulged. It is bulged, and this concept we call it as geoid shape anta. Now ನೋಡಿ ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಸರ್ ಬಲ್ಜ್ ಆಗಿದೆ? ಎಕ್ಸಾಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಬಲ್ಜ್ ಏನಕ್ಕೆ? Because of faster rotation. Because of faster rotation it is bulged. Highly important one. At equator hatra it is a bulged. At equator it is a bulge, and the second one poles alladre It is South Pole and North Pole hatra ಯಾವ shape ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ? It is in the form of, it is the flat shape. It is in the form of the flat shape. And this concept we call it as the geoid shape. Exactly, yes. See, whatever the concept we are discussing, if it is natural andaga, it is more adaptative. No, body nodi, it is flat enike. Because to maintain the impact of gravity. Because to maintain the impact of gravity, it is clearly it has been designed. It is North Pole and South Pole, it is flat. And the second one, 0 degree atra, it is bulged. 0 degree, it is bulged. Or exactly at 0 degree, it is bulged one. And this concept we call it as the geoid nature of Earth. The geoid nature of the Earth. Okay, alva? This is about our, it is the second one we call it as the shape. And the third one, sir, what is the rotation? Now what is the rotation or what is the direction of the movement of Earth? Hinge move agate. It is east to west move agata or west to east move agata or clockwise or anti-clockwise. It is hinge. Ready, Nona? Exactly, yes. Okay, wrong. First is what is the direction? Inga or inga, inga. It is as simple as that. The second major important one here is it moves from it is west to east. It moves from west to east. Is okay. Now west to east third option is either clockwise or anti-clockwise. Example is Guru. Is it clockwise or anti-clockwise? It is anti-clockwise. It is as simple as that. Anti-clockwise. It is anti-alla. It is anti-clockwise. Anti-clockwise is the counter. We got it as the counter one. Now what do you mean by counter one? It is counter andre normal clockwise, whereas the second one we call it as anti-clockwise. Example questions kelidare. It is anti-clockwise direction. The movement of Earth is moving from west to east. The west to east we call it as the direction of the Earth. Okay, alva? Highly important one. The rotation here is it is it is west to east. In which direction? In the direction we call it as the anti-clockwise. Example question kelidare. It is anti-clockwise the direction. Anti-clockwise direction. Okay, now yes or no? This is are the basic important. Now sir idella okay sir. Now ee rotation agbekadre where will you experience maximum speed? Poles alla ಜಾಸ್ತಿ speed ಇರುತ್ತಾ or at equator ಜಾಸ್ತಿ speed ಇರುತ್ತಾ? ಹೇಳಿ ನೋಡ. It is very ಜಾಸ್ತಿ. It is where can you experience higher speed? Any higher speed? Where? 0 or at it is 0 degree. It is also called as equator. Equator ಜಾಸ್ತಿ speed ಇರುತ್ತಾ or poles are ಜಾಸ್ತಿ speed ಇರುತ್ತಾ? ನೋಡಿ ಒಂದು ಕಾಮನ್ ಸೆನ್ಸ್ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್. ಕಾಮನ್ ಸೆನ್ಸ್ here is think that ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಸರ್ 10 ಕಿಲೋಮೀಟರ್ ಹೋಗೋಣ, ಒಂದು 10 ಕಿಲೋಮೀಟರ್ಸ್ ಬರ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಹತ್ತಿದ್ಯಾ? ಇಲ್ಲ, ಎರಡೇ ಇರೋದು. ಇಲ್ಲೂ ಸೇಮ್ 2 ಕಿಲೋಮೀಟರ್. ನಾವು ಸರ್ ಒಂದು ರೊಟೇಷನ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ one person he need to move from A ಇಂದ B ಮೂವ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ 10 ಕಿಲೋಮೀಟರ್ ಇದೆ. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸೇಮ್ ಸಿ ಅಂಡ್ ಡಿ ಅನ್ಕೋಣ, ಇಲ್ಲೂ ಸಿ ಅಂಡ್ ಡಿ ಅನ್ಕೋಣ. ನಾವು ಇರೋ ಎಷ್ಟು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸಮ್ 2 ಕಿಲೋಮೀಟರ್ಸ್. ಯಾರು ಫಾಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಮೂವ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು ರೊಟೇಷನ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ at 0 ಡಿಗ್ರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ he need to move at a faster pace because he need to cover 10 kilometers more of the maximum distance, whereas ಇವನಾದ್ರೆ ಆರಾಮಾಗಿ ಹೋಗ್ಬೋದು because he has what? It is its target is 2 kilometers. Its target is the 2 kilometers, whereas at 0 degree I need to cover the maximum distance. Now maximum distance cover agbeku andre it is I need to move at a faster pace. Example idin kelidare. Nothing but where can you experience the maximum speed? The maximum speed is experienced at 0 degrees, whereas minimum elli? Minimum at the poles hatra. Minimum at the poles. Yes or no? And never get confused with respect to it is the gravitational force. Now where will you experience higher gravitational force? Higher gravitational poles antandre it is the gravitational force is experienced at poles alli. Now you example tagoli. Example rockets normally ellilla launch ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ? Equator hatra launch ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಾ or poles hatra launch ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಾ? ಏನಕ್ಕೆ poles launch ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಾ? No, it is near to equator. Why near to equator nam rockets alla launch ಆಗುತ್ತೆ? Because gravitational pull will be lesser. Where will be lesser? It is equator or tropics hatra. It will be lesser compared to poles. Poles hatra they will be having higher gravitational force, whereas at the equator will be experiencing the lesser gravitational force. I will be discussing all those things one by one. But ಗೊತ್ತಿರಲಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಸರ್ ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಸರ್ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ the radius is more here, whereas the radius is lesser here, whereas equator ಹತ್ರ radius ತುಂಬಾ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. Radius is the more. Yes, okay ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಈ ಪಾಯಿಂಟರ್ಸ್ ನ ಫಿಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಸಾಕಿಲ್ಲ. The first one with respect to salient features. The salient features ಏನೇನ್ ನೋಡ್ಬೇಕಪ್ಪ ಇಲ್ಲಿ? The first and the foremost one we'll be discussing about location. Okay, location no. The third from our earth, and the second one shape. ಯಾವ ತರ shape ಇದೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ? It is geoid, or as simple as that, earth like shape ಅಂತ ನೋಡಿದ್ವಿ. ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ rotation ನೋಡಿದ್ವಿ. ನಾವು rotation revolution ಇದು rotation. Now if it is revolving around the axis rotate ಆಗ್ತಿದ್ರೆ, now if this is my axis, ಈ ಆಕ್ಸಿಸ್ ಸುತ್ತ rotate ಆಗ್ತಿದ್ರೆ we call it as rotation. ಅದೇ ಅರ್ತ್ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಯಾವ್ದೋ ಬೇರೆ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ ಅರೌಂಡ್ ಸುತ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ we call it as revolution. Okay ಅಲ್ವಾ? It is the rotation done. Rotation it is from, be cautious here, it is east to west ಅಲ್ಲ. ಎಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಜನಕ್ಕೆ ಇದು ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಈಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಈಸ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮೊದಲು ನೋಡ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ ಸೂರ್ಯನ್ ಅಂತ. It is west to east. And the second one, it is clockwise, anti-clockwise alla, it is clockwise. And next measuring point one, ಏನಪ್ಪ next one no? It is anti-clockwise. Okay, ಹೇಳಿದ anti ತಾನೆ? Okay, it is anti-clockwise. Okay, anti or clockwise. And fourth measuring point one, the fourth one. It is the fourth measuring point one. It is the speed. ಎಲ್ಲ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಸ್ಪೀಡ್. It is the maximum speed at 0 degree or at equator. Minimum ಎಲ್ಲಿರುತ್ತೆ? Minimum at the poles. It is the north pole ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ south pole ಹತ್ರ. And last one, it is the gravitational force ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ? It is the poles ಹತ್ರ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ, whereas minimum at where? Equator. Yes or no? Yes. ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಮಗ್ಗಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾ ನೀವು? No. If you have your blueprint ready, ಅದನ್ನ fill ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ ಮುಗಿದ ಕತೆ. Yes or no? This will act as your revision also. ಏನ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಈಗ? ಇದನ್ನ fill ಮಾಡಬೇಕು and you should fill all those things. ಬುಕ್ ನ ಮುಚ್ಚಿಡಬೇಕು, fill ಮಾಡಿ, ಮುಗೀತು. And the last one we call it as the uniqueness about earth. ಇಷ್ಟೆಲ್ಲಾ ಪಾಠ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರಲ್ವಾ? ನಾವು earth uniqueness ಹೇಳಿ ನೋಡೋಣ. It is already ಬರ್ಸಿದ್ನಲ್ಲ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಬ್ಲೂ ಕಲರ್ ಗ್ರೀನ್ ಕಲರ್ ಬೇಡ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ uniqueness here? It is now earth ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತ್ರ ಲೈಫ್ ಇದೆಯಾ ಈಗ? It is okay ಅಲ್ವಾ? Now exactly yes. ನಾವು uniqueness ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ, uniqueness, the earth is called as goldilock zone. ನಾನು ನಿನ್ನೆ ಹಿಂಟ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟೆ ನಾನು ಇಲ್ಲಿ. ನಾವು goldilock zone ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನಿಲ್ಲಿ? It is water exists in the form of liquid. Now Now this one we call it as the Goldilock zone. We call it as the Goldilock zone. Now sir, Goldilock zone ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು sir? It is water ಹೆಂಗಿರುತ್ತೆ? Now water ಯಾವ ಮೂಲಕ ಎಕ್ಸಿಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸಾಲಿಡ್ ಆಗಿ ಎಕ್ಸಿಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು in the form of ice. Yes or no? It is water. Water can exist in the form of solid agi kuda agirbodu, and second one it can be in the form of liquid, and the third one it can be in the form of the gas. Now ee mooralli water yav form alli idre olledu? It is solid alli idre olleda, liquid alli idre olleda, gas alli idre olleda? It is liquid. Why sir important? In neer kudibodu antana? Why? Because liquid ಅಂದ್ರೆ it is neither extreme, neither higher temperature nor lesser temperature. ಈ ಕಡೆ ಕಡಿಮೆ ತೀರಾ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಟೆಂಪರೇಚರ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಸಾಲಿಡ್ ಆಗಿ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಆಗೋದಕ್ಕೆ, at the same time it is ತೀರಾ higher temperature ಕೂಡ ಇಲ್ಲ. Now can I say that the water is in the form of, I can say liquid ಇದ್ದಾಗ can I say the temperature is moderate ಅಂತ? Yes or no? Temperature moderate iddaga, it is there will be formation of what? The formation of life. Formation of the life exists. The formation of life exists. Now sir, now liquid water ನಮ್ಮ ಒಂದು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾತ್ರ ಇದೆಯಾ, ನಮ್ಮ ಭೂಮಿಲಿ ಮಾತ್ರ ಇದೆಯಾ, or recent ಆಗಿ have we identified the water in the form of liquid in some of the planets? ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ನೋಡಿದೀವ ಹೋಗ್ಲಿ ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡ್ ವಾಟರ್ ಆಗಿ? We have identified the liquid water in the different planets. In the different planets we call it as ಯಾವುದು? It includes Mars. Now can I call this Mars as the Goldilock zone? Yes or no? See, there can be possibility of life ಅಷ್ಟೇ. I'm not saying life ಪಕ್ಕಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ. I'm saying it is liquid water idre a possibility of life chances idave anta. Possibility of life or chances of life is more. Ade riti recent agi idu namma ondu MOM mission identification. According to MOM has clarified saying that Mars has the existence of water in the form of liquid. Ade riti namma ondu Chandrayana 3, Chandrayana the 2 and 3, ನಮ್ಮ ಒಂದು ಚಂದ್ರಯಾನ 2 ಮತ್ತು 3 ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಕೂಡ we have clarified or we have came to conclusion saying that water is existing in the moon also, even with respect to moon also. And can I say the possibility of life, and ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ now all this planet comes under the zone called as the Goldilock zone. Now Goldilock zone ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ the temperature is neither extreme nor higher, and the second one there can be a possibility of life. There can be possibility of the life also. Exactly. Yes. Okay, along. Shukumar, good evening. Sima, good evening. Yes. Water exists. Exactly. Howdo? Pradeep, exactly perfect. Okay, along. This we call it as Goldilock zone. Example ಕೇಳಿದಾರೆ UPSC question ಕೇಳಿದಾರೆ. What is Goldilock zone or which all planets comes under Goldilock zone? But ಎಲ್ಲ ರೂಪಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ it is only earth. Because ನಾವು ಚಿಕ್ಕವರಿಂದ ಓದಿರ್ತೀವಿ ಏನಂತಂದ್ರೆ it is earth is the only planet where there can be existence of life. But according to the recent, I can say, developments, we have come to a conclusion saying that it's even the different planets. ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆಯೋ ಇಲ್ವೋ ಅಂತ, but water ಇದ್ರೆ there is always a possibility. But ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮನುಷ್ಯರಿಲ್ಲದೆ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, but at least micro organisms ಆದ್ರೂ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ವಾ? ನಾವು micro organisms ಇದ್ರೆ it is in the future there can be possibility of, I can say, humans also. Yes or no? Yes. This is about the first theme called as the theme of Earth. Under introduction to our geography, it is the theme A, we call it as Earth. Ignoring it is ella rub maduru kuda, at least you can fill all this. It is about the introduction, about the salient features, about the uniqueness. Yes, idrinda minimum under one question barlebeku, basic question. Yes. Okay, this is about the first and the foremost one. Okay, now theme 1 or theme 2 in the, is there any doubts? If there is no doubts, we can discuss our, we can start with respect to our the second theme. ಏನಪ್ಪ second theme ಇಲ್ಲಿ? It is the second theme, we call it as latitudes and longitudes and okay. Now give a heading called as the theme 2. We call it as the theme 2 ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. Now theme 2 ನಲ್ಲಿ we will be discussing about the most important and little bit trickier also, and this we call it as ಏನಿಲ್ಲಿ? It is the longitude, latitude and the longitude. It is latitude, and the second one we call it as longitude anta. It is latitude and the longitude. Exactly, yes. Okay alva? No, see ellaru ಓದಿರ್ತೀರಾ ನೀವು latitude longitudes, but ಒಂದು 10 ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಹೇಳಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. Yes or no? Now we will discuss about one by one based on the concept. Okay alva? Now sir, ಈ latitude ಮತ್ತು longitude ನ ಓದಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ what should be our blueprint? Again, the simple blueprint here is in simple blueprint, the same blueprint. ಇವಾಗ ನೋಡಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು one we call it as ಏನಿಲ್ಲಿ? Introduction. The perfect one, it is introduction. And the second one we call it as salient features. The second one we call it as the salient, the features. And the third one we call it as the uniqueness or the significance ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. The uniqueness or significance about latitudes. Now ಓದಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ we'll be discussing about the introduction of latitudes, introduction of longitudes. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ the features of latitudes and the features of longitude. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ the last one we call it as advantages of longitude in the advantage ಏನು and advantage of longitude in the advantage ಏನು. Okay alva? If you study this one by one, it is end of our part 2 or the theme 2. It is theme 2. Now sir, first thing here is, why should I need to study about longitudes and latitudes? Now ಈಗ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಈಗ now this is my earth. now ಈಗ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಎಲ್ಲಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳೋದಾದ್ರೆ can I say that ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ? US ಅಂದ್ರೆ can I say that ಇಲ್ಲಿ? Yes or no? Now how can I plot a particular location? How can I plot a particular geography? How can I say that what is the location of USA? What is the location of Europe? What is the location of Karnataka? What is the location of Bengaluru? What is the location of California? London ಇದೆ ಅಂತ. ನಾವು ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಪ್ಲಾಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ don't you think I want an imaginary, it is the locations which have been present with respect to or above the surface of the earth? Yes or no? It is. Now sir, ಏನು ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ ಅಂತ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ, now the first and the foremost one here is how your GPS works. How the GPS works. Exactly, Hasan ಕೂಡ. And we want to locate about Hasan. Now ಏನಾದ್ರೂ let us GPS work ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ the basic fundamental concept here is the longitudes and latitudes. Yes or no? Longitudes and latitudes. Now sir, longitude and ಏನು sir? The first and foremost one, I have said this is 0 degree and this is 90 degrees, north or south? South. And the second one we call it as 90 degrees north anta. Now think that there will be n number of longitudes. North alladre it is northern hemisphere li there will be n number of longitudes. Adhe riti there will be n number of the latitudes even with respect to your the southern hemisphere also. This we call it as latitudes. Now the latitudes in the southern and the latitudes in the northern. But sir, only latitudes itkondu can I plot the particular location in our, I can say, earth? Agalla. ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಸರ್ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ನಥಿಂಗ್ ದಟ್ ಈಗ ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ 0 ಡಿಗ್ರಿ ಇದೆ. ನಾವು 0 ಡಿಗ್ರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಬಿ ಇಲ್ಲಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಇಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಬಿ ಇಲ್ಲಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು. ನಾವು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಐ ಸೇ ದಟ್ 0 ಡಿಗ್ರಿ ಈಸ್ಟ್, 0 ಡಿಗ್ರಿ ವೆಸ್ಟ್, 0 ಡಿಗ್ರಿ ಮಧ್ಯ, 0 ಡಿಗ್ರಿ ಮಧ್ಯ ಲೆಫ್ಟ್, 0 ಡಿಗ್ರಿ ಮಧ್ಯ ಈಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ? ನೋ. Again I want what? I can say it is which one? It is longitudes. It is longitudes. But now ನಾನು ಈ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ನ ಪ್ಲಾಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ can I say now it is ಇಷ್ಟನೇ ಲ್ಯಾಟಿಟ್ಯೂಡ್, ಇಷ್ಟನೇ ಲ್ಯಾಟಿಟ್ಯೂಡ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಇಷ್ಟನೇ ಲಾಂಗಿಟ್ಯೂಡ್ ಅಂತ. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ಇಷ್ಟನೇ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಮೇ ಬಿ 1 degree latitudes and it is some degrees longitude ಅಂತ. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ take an example of this location ಯಾವುದೇ ಲೊಕೇಶನ್ ಇರಲಿ, it is we call it as we will be drawing the network of imaginary lines, and this concept we call it as latitudes and the longitudes ಅಂತ. ಹೌದಲ್ವಾ? ನಾವು ಸರ್ ಈ ಲ್ಯಾಟಿಟ್ಯೂಡ್ಸ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಲಾಂಗಿಟ್ಯೂಡ್ಸ್ ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಸರ್ ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಟು ಲೊಕೇಟ್ ಅ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಅಬೌವ್ ದ ಸರ್ಫೇಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಅರ್ತ್. we call it as I can say the longitudes and the latitudes. But even ನಮ್ಮ ಒಂದು ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಡೇ ಟು ಡೇ ಆಕ್ಟಿವಿಟೀಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ our geography is holding applicability. It is geography is mandatory. ಈಗ ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ನನ್ನ ಮನೆಯಿಂದ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಇಫ್ ಐ ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ರೀಚ್ ಓವರ್ ದ ಅಕಾಡೆಮಿ, ನಂಗೆ ದಾರಿ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ನಾನೀಗ? ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಐ ಬಿ ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ GPS. ಅಂಡ್ ದ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಒನ್, ಇಫ್ ಐ ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ರೀಚ್ ಅಕಾಡೆಮಿ, ನಾನು ನೋಡ್ಬೇಕಲ್ವಾ ಬಿಸಿಲಿದ್ಯಾ ಕತ್ಲಿದ್ಯಾ, ಅಟ್ ದ ಸೇಮ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಮಳೆ ಬೀಳ್ತಿದ್ಯಾ. ಆಲ್ ದಿಸ್ ಕಮ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡರ್ ವೇರ್? ಅಗೇನ್ geography, weather or atmosphere or climatic conditions. Yes or no? Yes, highly important one. Yes, we need to know about what it is latitudes and longitudes. Now the blueprint, okay alva? At introduction, the salient features, idrinda significance ಏನು ಸರ್ ನನಗೆ ಅಂತ, okay alva? Now the first one given called as latitudes. The first one we call it as the latitudes. It is the first one we call it as exactly. It is geography is highly important even with respect to exam point of view also. So research ನೋಡಿದ್ವಲ್ಲ 26 question ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ, 26 questions. Yes. Now with respect to latitude ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು sir? Now what do you mean by the latitude? What do you mean by the latitude? Now horizontal imaginary line or is it the vertical imaginary line? It is horizontal. ಹೌದಾ ಇಲ್ವೋ? The first and the foremost one, it is ಹಂಗೆ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರಿ. I'll discuss all the things. Very very simple. At the first and the foremost one, can I say it is the horizontal, the imaginary line which are being plotted on the surface of the earth. We call it as latitude. Okay alva? It is definition okay now. The first one, introduction or the definition is this. It is a horizontal line which are being plotted on the surface of the earth. We call it as it is latitudes. And the second one ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ now second one, sir, how many number of latitudes I can plot with respect to the surface of the earth? ಎಷ್ಟನ್ನ ಪ್ಲಾಟ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು? begin. It is number of the latitudes. ನಾವು ಇದು 0 ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ 90 ಅನ್ನಲ್ಲ. It is 179 wrong. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಮಗ್ಗಪ್ ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದು ಇಲ್ಲಿ. ನಾವು 1 ರಿಂದ 90 ಅಂದ್ರೆ 90, ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ 1 ರಿಂದ 90 ಅಂದ್ರೆ 90, 180 ಪ್ಲಸ್ 1 ಅಲ್ವಾ? Hope you get what I'm saying. It is now nothing that this is my 1. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ this is my 2. ಎಲ್ಲ ಪ್ಲಾಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಡಿ. It is same ಅಷ್ಟೇ. It is 1 2. It is 1 2 ಇಂದ it is some 10 20 30 40 50 60 70 80 90. Now how many latitudes can I plot in my southern hemisphere? It is 90. ಹೌದಾ ಇಲ್ವೋ? It is 90 90 latitudes I can plot here. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ನಾರ್ತ್ ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ 90 ಮಾಡಬಹುದಲ್ವಾ? 90 exactly yes. It is 90. And now sir, the last one we call it as ಯಾವ್ದಿಲ್ಲಿ? The last one we call it as equator ನೇ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ವಲ್ಲ? And that we call it as the 1. Now how many number of latitudes I can plot with respect to the earth? It is how many? We call it as 181. Okay alva? 181 latitudes I can plot with respect to the geography, or I can say with respect to the surface of the earth. Now these are the first one. It is number. And the second one we call it as second one. Sir, what is the length of the length ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನಿಲ್ಲಿ? It is what is the length of the latitudes. Now does the length of the latitude remain same or it changes? It is changes ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ where can you see maximum length? It is equator ಹತ್ರ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಇದನ್ನ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿಮಮ್ ಲೆಂತ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿದೆಯಪ್ಪ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲೇ ನೋಡಿ. This is maximum. Minimum length ಎಲ್ಲಿದೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ? Equator. Minimum length is equator or at poles. It is as simple as that. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸೇಮ್ ಸೈಜ್ ಇದೆಯಾ? ಇಲ್ಲಿ it is maximum, whereas ಇಲ್ಲಿ moderate, whereas ಇಲ್ಲಿ it is the lowest one. Yes or no? It is with respect to length. Length remains same andre? No, length varies. Now vary ಆದ್ರೆ maximum length ಎಲ್ಲಿರುತ್ತೆ? Maximum length at 0. It is minimum length we call it as the minimum length ಎಲ್ಲಿ? It is at 90 degrees north and south. Poles ಅಲ್ಲಿ. As simple as that. Poles ಅಲ್ಲಿ we will be experiencing the lesser. It is the lesser we call it as the length. The lesser the length ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. Okay ಅಲ್ವಾ? Yes, this is about our length. And the next one, sir, distance ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ the third one is ಎರಡು latitude ಮಧ್ಯೆ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತ it is distance. Will it be same or will it be different? It is as simple as that. A distance. It is a distance. Now distance ಹೆಂಗಿರುತ್ತಪ್ಪ? Take for example ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ, now take an example of it is 0 degree. Think that this is 1. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ take an example of 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5. Now sir, distance change ಆಗತ್ತಾ ಸರ್ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ no, distance remains a same. Between it is distance remains same between it is the different latitudes. It remains what? Okay alva, ಇಲ್ಲಿ doubt ಇಲ್ಲ ತಾನೆ? The distance remains a same, whereas length changes. The length change ಆಗ್ತದೆ. Whereas ಇರ್ತಾನೆ ಮಧ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತಾನೆ distance, the distance, it is same for all the latitudes. Okay alva? Now sir, ನಾವೀಗ 181 latitude ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕಾಗತ್ತಾ? ಎಲ್ಲ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ 1 degree, 2 degree, 3 degrees? No. Now for our convenience ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ? For our convenience we have divided or as simple as that, for our convenience, to reduce the difficultiness of studying all the 181 latitudes, we will be studying what? We'll be studying only and only the important latitudes. Now sir, yadu sir adu namnu gottillirta important latitudes. Yadu important latitudes. It is important latitudes, we call it as important latitudes. Yadu. It is 23.5 degrees north or south. This is north. Adhe riti, idina we call it as 23.5. It is exactly how 23.5 south. Idu equator na karithi. Equator. Yes, exactly, yes. Okay. Now the online question here is, now sir, distance remains same as sir andre. Distance remains same. Yen change agate. Now for example, nan first standard, second standard third standard ge. 1 varsha irthe 10 varsha irtha. Onde varshane. If that is the case, now 0 degree to 1 degree, 1 degree to 2 degree, it remains same boss. Yes or no? It is same. Samanatva agirutte or the same anu matarthivi. So ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ variations ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪನೂ ವೇರಿಯೇಷನ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. Yes, be cautious here. Exactly how it is same. Whereas length varies. ಅದೇ ನಮ್ಮ longitudes ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ರಿವರ್ಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Longitude ರಿವರ್ಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. It has some patience, some 5 or 10 minutes. We'll discuss that also. ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಡೌಟ್ ಆದ್ರೆ we'll see. Exactly, yes. Okay ಅಲ್ವಾ? It is. Now sir, ಯಾವುದು ಸರ್ important latitudes? Now studying all the 181 latitudes is literally impossible. Now it is for our convenience. We have reduced it to the few latitudes that we call it as 23.5. Sir, 23 idru okay, 24 idru okay, half yake. It is because the earth has been tilted by 23.5. 23 earth tilt agide. Now say tilt concept ಏನು ಸರ್ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ nothing but now original earth ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ earth it is exactly what? It is placed exactly at the center. Now even earth ಗೆ it has been impacted by what? It is, for example, ನಾನು straight and ನಿಂತ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. For example, ಯಾರೋ ತಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಎಸ್ತಾರೆ, now will I be straight or will I tilt towards left? ಏನಾಗ್ತೀನಿ? It is automatic ಆಗಿ I will tilt towards left because the impact of what? It is the asteroid. Now ಯಾವ ಒಂದು asteroid sir ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ asteroid already I have discussed. Asteroid is nothing but a rocky substance, and the rocky substance we call it as ಯಾವುದು? It is Thea ಅಂತ ಕರೀತೀವಿ. The asteroid we call it as a Thea. Now asteroid Thea impact ಆದಾಗ earth has been inclined. Now this is my original one. Now earth ಎಷ್ಟು incline ಆಗಿದೆ ಸರ್ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ it has been inclined by the 23.5. The 23.5 east or west? Example ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. It has been inclined by, it is east. Now we can actually, it is exact original position is this, and it was inclined by, it is a 23.5 east. And this will be the earth. ಆವಾಗ 0 degree ಯಾವ್ದಾಗತ್ತೆ? 0 degree ಇದು. But ಹಿಂಗ್ ನೋಡಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ ಸತಿ. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ we are just imagining this as I can say exact one ಅಂತ. Followed by adadmele our important latitudes will be this. But concept ಗೊತ್ತಿರಲಿ ಸರ್ ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಸರ್ 23.5 ತಗೊಂಡ್ರಿ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ because it has inclined by what? It has inclined by 23.5. And what is now I said this is my 0 degree, and what is the distance? What is the distance between, I can say, the original and ನಮ್ಮ ಒಂದು the original one and ಇದು ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ it is 23.5 and in ಮಿಕ್ಕಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಈ ಒಂದು ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಎಷ್ಟಿರುತ್ತೆ? It is 66.5. 90 degrees ಅಲ್ಲಿ 23.5 ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಮಿಕ್ಕಿರೋದು ಎಷ್ಟಿಲ್ಲಿ? 66.5 ಡಿಗ್ರಿ. 66.6 ಡಿಗ್ರಿನ we call it as the distance or it is the angle between the regions. And adana we used to take it as, idana popular one we call it as 60.5. It is north or south? It is matte north, and illi kuda 66.5 we call it as a south. Anyways, namge poles gottide, poles eshtilli? It is poles we call it as 90 degrees south, and the second one we call it as 90 degrees north. 90 degrees north and 90 degrees south. Exactly, yes. Okay, along. I hope it is clear. 66.5. Okay, along. ಇನ್ಮೇಲೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಕುಡಿಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ರೇಷಿಯೋಸ್ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೇಕು ಇಲ್ಲಿ. ಓಕೆ, 20.5 ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ 66 ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ 90 ಒಂದೇ 90 ಅಲ್ಲ. Now with respect to sir, now all this I can say the latitudes are being given by different names. Now ಎಲ್ಲತ್ತಿದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಕೇಳಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ 0, it is 20.5, 66.5, yes or no? Again, for our convenience, this has been given different names. ನಾವು ಯಾವ ನೇಮ್ ಸರ್ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ನಾವು 0 ಡಿಗ್ರಿನ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ನಾವು ನಾಮಕರಣ ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ, ಯಾವ್ದಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಕ್ವೇಟರ್. ನಾವು ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ our geographers have renamed this 23.5 north as what? ಏನಂತ ನೇಮ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ? It is 23.5, the 23.5 north as, it is, we call it as the Tropic of Cancer. Tropic of the Cancer ಅಂತ ಹೆಸರು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. It is based on the Egyptian as well as the Greece goddesses, god and goddesses ಮೇಲೆಗೆ it is Tropic of Cancer. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ಸೌತ್ ಅಲ್ಲಾದ್ರೆ we call it as what? The Tropic of Capricorn. Now sir, tropic ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಸರ್ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ what do you mean by this tropic? Now this region we call it as ಏನಿಲ್ಲಿ tropic ಅಂತ or tropics. Why tropics? Because the sun rays will fall vertical ಆಗಿ between ಯಾವ ರೇಂಜ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ 23.5 south ಇಂದ 23.5 north ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ the vertical rays will never extend after 23.5. 23.5 ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ it is the vertical rays will never fall about 23.5. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ this complete region we call it as the tropics. We call it as the tropics. ಗೊತ್ತಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ, we call it as the tropics. It is tropic of, I can say, the tropic of the Cancer. Okay, it is the tropic of Cancer and the tropic of Capricorn. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ our 66.5 north, it is renamed as what? It has been given a title called as ಏನಂತ? It is Arctic Circle. ಏನಕ್ಕಪ್ಪ Arctic Circle ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ because it passes through I can say ocean called as Arctic Ocean. It passes the Arctic Ocean. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ it is the 66.5 imaginary line. It is passes through Antarctic Circle. It passes through what? It passes through. It is ಯಾವ circle ಗೆ? It is Antarctic Ocean ಮೂಲಕ ಪಾಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. And this we call it as Antarctic Circle. And the last one we call it, what do you ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ? we call it as North Pole, and idina we call it as enanta, it is South Pole. We call it as the South Pole. Okay alva, idna fill madanaga patpatantiga. Yes, it is the first and the foremost one. The first and the foremost one, it is with respect to latitudes. Okay alva. Now latitudes na discuss ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ನಾನು already ಹೇಳಿದೆ. ಏನಪ್ಪ first one? No, the first one we call it as the introduction or definition anta. Now what do you mean by latitudes? Latitude ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? It's an imaginary line. It's an imaginary, the line which are being, it's an imaginary line which are being plotted. ಯಾವ ತರ? It is horizontally, which are plotted horizontally, and can I say this horizontal one, it is parallel to equator? ಹೌದೇನು? It is now zero ಗೆ parallel ಆಗಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಎಲ್ಲಾನು, yes or no? It is ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಈ latitudes are also called as the parallels of latitude. Example question ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. This one, it is also called as the parallels of latitude ಅಂತ ಕೂಡ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. It is parallels of latitude. All the latitudes are, I can say, all the latitudes are being plotted the parallel. It is the parallels of equator ಅಂತ ಕೂಡ ಕರೀತಾರೆ, or parallels of latitudes. Why only equator? ಎಲ್ಲದಕ್ಕೂ equal ಅಲ್ವಾ? It is ಎಲ್ಲದಕ್ಕೂ parallel. Why only to equator? But equator ಕೂಡ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. But normal ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ it is parallels of latitudes. The parallels of latitudes or the parallels of equator ಅಂತ ಕೂಡ ಕರೀತೀವಿ. Okay, now those about are the first and the foremost one, we call it as the definition. First one we call it as the definition, and the second one exactly as the parallels of latitudes, or it is also called as the parallels of equator also. Exactly how the second one. Now second one ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ it is second one ಇಲ್ಲಿ it has salient features. Now salient features ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ the three things, one ಯಾವುದು ಇಲ್ಲಿ? It is what is the number ಗೊತ್ತಲ್ವಾ? It is how many number of latitudes which are present with respect to the earth. ಎಷ್ಟಿದಾವೆ? 181, 181 in number, 181 in number. And the second one, it is length ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ the same blueprint longitude ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. It is longitude ಕೂಡ, it is length ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ? It is length varies. Now vary ಆದ್ರೆ which latitude has the maximum one? It is maximum is equator or 0 degree ಅಂತ ಬರಿಬೋದಾ? It is 0 degree maximum, and the minimum ಯಾವ್ದಪ್ಪ ಇಲ್ಲಿ? It is minimum at 90, or as simple as that, can I say at poles? Exactly, yes. It is the second one. The third measuring point one, we call it as the distance. Distance, does it remain same or it varies? It remains same. It remains same. Okay, now this is about our I can say second one. And the third measuring point one, the third measuring point one is uniqueness. Now what is the uniqueness about? It is the latitudes ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ the first and the foremost one, it is the most important latitudes ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ್ಯಾವ most important latitudes ಇದಾವಪ್ಪ? ಯಾವ್ದು? how many important latitudes we have? ಒಂದು 0 degree ಅಂತ ಅದನ್ನ equator ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, and the second one we call it as 23.5 north and south. Now 23.5 north we call it as Tropic of the Cancer. ಇದನ್ನ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ಸರ್ ಇದನ್ನಾದ್ರೆ Capricorn ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಇಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಆರ್ಟಿಕ್ ಅಂಡ್ ದಿಸ್ ಒನ್ ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, ಅಂಟಾರ್ಟಿಕ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, ನಾರ್ತ್ ಪೋಲ್, ಸೌತ್ ಪೋಲ್. Yes or no? This is with respect to your, I can say the most important one. Now sir, ನಾವು ಯಾವ ಒಂದು ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಲ್ಯಾಟಿಟ್ಯೂಡ್ ವಿಚ್ ಪಾಸಸ್ ಥ್ರೂ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ? ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾವು ನಮ್ಮ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಸ್ಪೆಸಿಫಿಕ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾವು ಪೆಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಅಟ್ಲಾಸ್ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಅಟ್ಲಾಸ್ ತಂದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಆಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಯುವರ್ ಮೊಬೈಲ್ ಅಟ್ ಲೀಸ್ಟ್. Begin. Now with respect to sir ಯಾವ ಒಂದು ಲ್ಯಾಟಿಟ್ಯೂಡ್, ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಯಾವ ಒಂದು ಲ್ಯಾಟಿಟ್ಯೂಡ್ ವಿಚ್ ಪಾಸಸ್ ಥ್ರೂ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಅಂತ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಲ್ಯಾಟಿಟ್ಯೂಡ್ ಇಯರ್ ಇಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ 23.5 ನಾರ್ತ್ ಆರ್ ಸೌತ್. ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾರ್ತ್. ಓಕೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ನೀವು ಅಟ್ಲಾಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪಟ್ಟಂತ it is Oxford Atlas ಅಲ್ಲಿ. Now observe 23.5. It is India map, 11th page number. ಸಿಕ್ತಾ? It is at least index open ಮಾಡಿ ಪಟ್ಟಂತ. Index ಅಲ್ಲಿ it is India, the physical or political map ಅಂತ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ನಾವು ಈಗ ಹೋಗಿ ನೋಡಿ. What the doubt? Anu? Okay. Yes. Okay, long. Now, sir, 23.5 north siktam. Now, 23.5 north passes through. Now, can I say this 23.5 north divides the country into two equal halves? Yes or no? Now, sir, now observe. Now observe this. This is about India. Now, is this the physical map or the political map? Now, what is the difference between physical map and a political map? Begin. Exactly. It is physical map, and I have already hinted you yesterday. Physical map provides you about the physical part of geography. Now, sir, physical part is it is which does not have life or it has been created naturally. Now, naturally, it is created by the mountains, deserts, islands, the plateaus. All these things comes under the natural or the physical factors. Whereas, clear agi states na divide ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. Now clear ಆಗಿ states na divide ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ now this map we call it as ಏನು? We call it as it is the political map. ನೋಡಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಒಂದು ಮ್ಯಾಪ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಟ್ಲಾಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ on the right end ಅಲ್ಲಿ it is the right end ಅಲ್ಲಿ they have clearly mentioned about the physical or the political map of India specific ಆಗಿ ಅಂತ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾರ. It is the political map of India. The map. Now, if that is the case, now the Tropic of Cancer andre already I nailed him. What is Tropic of Cancer? It is an imaginary line which passes through what? Which passes through 23.5 north or south. We call it as north. Now this 23.5 north passes through how many states? Example ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಟು ಈಸ್ಟ್, ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಟು ಈಸ್ಟ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ರಾಜ್ಯಗಳ ಮೂಲಕ ಅದು ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ. ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ 8. ನಾವು ಇದು ಓಕೆ. ನಾವು ಹೌ ಮೆನಿ ಕೋಸ್ಟಲ್, ಹೌ ಮೆನಿ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಲಾಕ್ಡ್? ಓಕೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ, ಅದು ಚಿಕ್ಕ ಮಕ್ಳಿಗೆ ಕೇಳೋದಲ್ಲ 8 ಅಂತ. ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಹೌ ಮೆನಿ ಕೋಸ್ಟಲ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಹೌ ಮೆನಿ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಲಾಕ್ಡ್. ನಾವು ಅದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ವಿಚ್ ಆಲ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಟು ಈಸ್ಟ್. ಎಸ್ ಓಕೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ, 8 ಅಂತ ನನಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ. ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಸ್ ಸರ್ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, it is how many states? It is 8 states. And west to east ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ, now which is the first or the westernmost state? Which is the westernmost state? Observe ಮಾಡಿ, ಗುಜರಾತ್ ಇದೆಯಾ ಅಂತ. Now what is the capital of Gujarat? It is capital of Gujarat here is, it is Gandhinagar. Capital of Gujarat is Gandhinagar. Observe ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಾ? ಪಟ್ಪಟ್ಟು ನಂಗೆ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಿಲ್ಲಿ. Second one, observe Madhya Pradesh or Rajasthan. Observe ಮಾಡಿ, it is Rajasthan ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ. It passes through Rajasthan also. It passes through Rajasthan also. It is online. It is after Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh. Allah, it is Rajasthan. It is Rajasthan. Now Rajasthan's capital. It is Rajasthan's capital is, it is Jaipur or Udaipura. It is Jaipur. It is Jaipur is the capital of Rajasthan. And the third one, we call it as Madhya Pradesh. Now Madhya Pradesh capital, it is Bhopala or Indore. It is Bhopal. Indore is the popular one. Highly important one. Gujarat the popular is Ahmedabad. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ಉದಯ್ಪುರ್ ದ ಪಾಪ್ಯುಲರ್ ಸಿಟಿ ಇಸ್ ದ ಸಿಟಿ ಆಫ್ ರಾಜಸ್ಥಾನ್ ಇಸ್ ಉದಯ್ಪುರ್. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಮಧ್ಯಪ್ರದೇಶ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಪಾಪ್ಯುಲರ್ ಒನ್ ಇಸ್ ಇಂದೋರ್. ಅಂಡ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ 7 ಕಾನ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಟಿವ್ ಟೈಮ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಸ್ವಚ್ಛ ಭಾರತ್ ಮಿಷನ್ ಅಂಡರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಗಾಟ್ ದ ಕ್ಲೀನ್ಲಿಯೆಸ್ಟ್ ಟ್ಯಾಗ್. ದ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಟ್ಯಾಗ್ ಇಸ್ ಇಂದೋರ್ಗೆ. ದ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಟ್ಯಾಗ್ ಇಸ್ ಇಂದೋರ್. ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲಿ ಮಧ್ಯಪ್ರದೇಶ್ ಮೂರನೇದು. ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಾ? ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಮಧ್ಯಪ್ರದೇಶ್. ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಫೋರ್ತ್ ಒನ್, ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಯು ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ದ ಛತ್ತೀಸ್ಗಢ? ಚಂಡೀಗಢ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಛತ್ತೀಸ್ಗಢ. ಚಂಡೀಗಢ ಇಸ್ ಯೂನಿಯನ್ ಟೆರಿಟರಿ. ಯೂನಿಯನ್ ಟೆರಿಟರಿ ವಿಚ್ ಇಸ್ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ here, which is present between Haryana and Punjab. The Chandigarh Union Territory. Chhattisgarh. Now what is the capital of Chhattisgarh? It is capital of Chhattisgarh is Ranchi na Raipura. It is Raipur. It is Raipur, followed by Jharkhand. It is Jharkhand's capital is Ranchi. It is Ranchi. Followed by Radmal extend up to Eastgate. It is West Bengal. West Bengal's capital. It is Kolkata. It is Kolkata or Kolkata. याद देखो, but popular one is Hooghly. The popular one is Hooghly. Sikkida. Hooghly. Followed by, it passes through Bangladesh. Now Bangladesh capital yadu. It is Dhaka. And the largest or the longest, the international border takanta country yadu. It is Bangladesh. And longest border ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಯಾವ್ದಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಬೆಂಗಾಲ್. ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಬೆಂಗಾಲ್ has the longest boundary with Bangladesh. Longest boundary with Bangladesh. Exactly perfect. Okay alva. Adadmele it is, we have 2 northeastern states. One we call it as ಯಾವ್ದಪ್ಪ? Tripura. Tripura's capital Agartala. Tripura's capital Agartala. And the last one we call it as yadu. It is Mizoram. Mizoram's capital Aizawl. Now the total interally, now which one has an access to coast? It is Gujarat and West Bengal. ಇದನ್ನ UPSC CDS ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋದ ವರ್ಷ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. It is adukostra you should observe the map. Magap madadalla. And 1000 sati they have asked the question with respect to west to east and east to west. And they have given a states kotbiಟ್ಟು which all states ಮೂಲಕ ಟ್ರಾಪಿಕ್ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ಸರ್ ಪಾಸ್ ಆಗತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂಡ್ ಪಾಸ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಕೂಡ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಎಸ್ ಆರ್ ನೋ? ನಾವು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಮ್ಯಾಪ್ ನೋಡಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಈವನ್ ಒರಿಸ್ಸಾ ಕೂಡ ಅನ್ಸತ್ತೆ ಓ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ ಅಂತ. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ಬಿಹಾರ್ ಕೂಡ ಅಲ್ವಾ, ಹೌದಲ್ವಾ? ಎಸ್ ಆರ್ ನೋ? ಎಸ್. ಐಲಿನ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ 1 it is out of this Gujarat, and the second one it is West Bengal. It is out of 8 states ಎರಡಕ್ಕೆ which has an access to ಯಾವುದು, which has an access to coast, ಕರಾವಳಿ ಆಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಇದೆ. ಇನ್ನು ಮಿಕ್ಕಿದೆಲ್ಲ ಏನಿಲ್ಲ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಲಾಕ್ಡ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ which does not have an access to coast. ಔಟ್ ಆಫ್ 8 ಎರಡು ಹೋದ್ರೆ 6 ಬರುತ್ತೆ. It is landlocked. 6 comes under landlocked states. Now out of this I can say now coastal ಅಲ್ಲಿ Gujarat has the longest coastline. ಗೊತ್ತಿರಲಿ ಇದು. It is Gujarat has the longest coastline. West Bengal ಅಲ್ಲ, Gujarat has the longest coastline. Gujarat has the longest coastline. Exactly Pradeep, exactly yes. It is a 2 plus 6. Exactly how it is perfect. It is okay Alvam. Okay, earth exactly you are perfect. That's the name also. Okay, it is perfect. It is 6 plus 2 out of 8. Exactly perfect. Okay Alvam, done. This is all about our we call it as the latitudes. We call it as latitudes anta. Now sir, India admele can we expand to the world? Now sir, the first and foremost one, now world map open ಮಾಡಿ. I think some 89 or 90 ಆ ರೇಂಜ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. Now observe this. This is your what? It is at the world map. Now world map depicting the different latitudes. Now different latitudes. Now sir, countries ನೋಡಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ shall we discuss about first continents? Now how many continents do we have at the world level? It is how many sir ಅಂತ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ this we call it as ಯಾವ್ದಿದು? It is North America and ಇದು South America. It is ಯಾವ್ದಿಲ್ಲಿ? It is Africa. It is Eurasia. It is Europe separate, Asia separate alla. It is continents. We call it as Europe and Asia. Now Europe and Asia it is separated by ಯಾವುದು? It is Ural mountains anta. Observe ಮಾಡಿ ಮ್ಯಾಪ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. It is can you observe the Ural mountains which separates Europe and Asia. Exactly. Eurasia ಹೌದು. And ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ it is which is the region which separates North America with South America? Mediterranean Sea. Now this is Mediterranean. Now can you observe the Isthmus of Panama? It is Isthmus of Panama which separates North America with South America. Exactly. Yes, exactly Rani. The Ural Mount or the Ural the river which drains into Caspian Sea. It is Caspian the sea, and Caspian Sea surrounding countries ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕು ತಾರೀಖ್ ಅಂತ. I'll discuss all those things, but ಒಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ experts ಗೆ you should be aware. Okay ಅಲ್ವಾ? It is the South America and Africa. Now Africa is separated by, can you check Gibraltar Strait? ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ Gibraltar Strait ಇಲ್ಲಿ Gibraltar Strait, that is on the west of Africa. ಹತ್ರ. Can you observe Gibraltar? ಸಿಕ್ತಾ? The Strait of Gibraltar. ಸ್ಟ್ರೇಟ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಅಂತ ಕೂಡ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡೋಣ, ಬಟ್ as of now ಗೊತ್ತಿರಲಿ. ಸ್ಟ್ರೇಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಜಿಬ್ರಾಲ್ಟರ್ ಒಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಪಾಪ್ಯುಲಾರಿಟಿ ಆಗ್ತಿರ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ. ಸ್ಟ್ರೇಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಜಿಬ್ರಾಲ್ಟರ್. ನಾವು ಸ್ಟ್ರೇಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಜಿಬ್ರಾಲ್ಟರ್ ಸಿಕ್ತಾ? ಸಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ವಾ? ಸಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ it is go to Africa map, specific Africa map, ಮತ್ತೆ ಇಂಡೆಕ್ಸ್, Africa continent, Africa political, ಇವಾಗ ಸಿಗತ್ ನೋಡಿ. It is Strait of Gibraltar separates which two countries? ಸ್ಪೇನ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಮೊರಾಕೋ ಅಂತ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸ್ಪೇನ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಮೊರಾಕೋ, ಪೋರ್ಚುಗಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಸ್ಪೇನ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಮೊರಾಕೋ. ಸಿಕ್ತಾ? ಅಟ್ಲಾಸ್ ತರಬೇಕು ನಾಳೆ. ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಸಿಕ್ತಾ? ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಜಿಬ್ರಾಲ್ಟರ್ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಯು ಚೆಕ್ ಸುಯೆಸ್, ದ ಸುಯೆಸ್ ಕೆನಾಲ್ ಸಿಕ್ತಾ? ಹೋಗ್ಲಿ, ಸುಯೆಸ್ ಕೆನಾಲ್ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಅಟ್ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ಸಿನಾಯ್ ಪೆನಿನ್ಸುಲಾ ಅಂತ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದು ಸಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ. ರೆಡ್ ಸಿ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಟ್ಲೀಸ್ಟ್. ಓಕೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಸುಯೆಸ್ ಕೆನಾಲ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಸುಯೆಸ್ ಕೆನಾಲ್ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ರೆಡ್ ಸಿ ವಿತ್ ಮೆಡಿಟರೇನಿಯನ್. ರೆಡ್ ಸಿ ವಿತ್ ಮೆಡಿಟರೇನಿಯನ್. ಎಕ್ಸಾಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಯಸ್. ಎಕ್ಸಾಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಸೀಮಾ. ಎಕ್ಸಾಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಯಸ್. ಎಕ್ಸಾಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಸಾನಿಯಾ. ಪರ್ಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಪರ್ಫೆಕ್ಟ್. ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ಸ್ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅಬೌಟ್ ಜಿಬ್ರಾಲ್ಟರ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅಬೌಟ್ ದ ರೆಡ್ ಸಿ, ಅಬೌಟ್ I can say even Sinai Peninsula also. Every day some 15 to 20 minutes will be on map based. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಹೆಂಗಿದೆ ಸ್ಯಾಂಪಲ್ ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೀನಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಓಕೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ? That's about our, I can say it is the Red Sea or the Suez Canal. ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ we will be discussing about continent called as, ಯಾವ ಕಾಂಟಿನೆಂಟ್ ಇದು? It is Australia. ಎಷ್ಟು ಕಾಂಟಿನೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆಯ್ತು ಇಲ್ಲಿ? It is 1, the 2, ಮೂರನೇದು ಆಫ್ರಿಕಾ, ನಾಲ್ಕನೇದು ಯುರೋಪ್, and ಐದನೇದು ಏಷ್ಯಾ. Sixth one we call it as, it is Australia, and the last continent we call it as Antarctica. Okay alva? Now sir, ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಕಾಂಟಿನೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ how many oceans are present in the world? How many oceans? ಎಷ್ಟು oceans ಇದಾವೆ? It is 5 or 6. It is the first one we call it as, ಯಾವುದು? It is Pacific. ನೋಡಿ, Pacific, it is surrounded by, ಈಸ್ಟ್ ಗಾದ್ರೆ ನಾರ್ತ್ ಅಮೆರಿಕಾ, ಸೌತ್ ಅಮೆರಿಕಾ ಇದೆ. whereas ಇಲ್ಲೂ Pacific ocean ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಏನಕ್ಕೆ? ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಅರ್ತ್ ಇಸ್ ರೌಂಡ್, ಗುಂಡಕ್ಕಿದೆ. Yes sir, because of this it is one kade Asia ide, one kade it is Asia and Australia on the left or on the west, and east gadre North America ಮತ್ತೆ South America. ಸರ್ ಇಷ್ಟೇನಾ ಸರ್ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಸೌತ್ ನೋಡಿ ಅಂಟಾರ್ಟಿಕಾ ಇದೆ. It is South Antarctica. Yes, this is my first and the foremost ocean and the largest ocean also. Which is the largest ocean? It is Pacific Ocean. And which is the second largest ocean? The second largest ocean we call it as Atlantic Ocean anta. Atlantic Ocean. But Atlantic Ocean yes shape alli ide. Atlantic Ocean observe ಮಾಡಿ, it is in the form of yes shaped. It is in the form of yes shaped. And this one we call it as Atlantic Ocean. Now Atlantic Ocean surrounding I can say continents how? North America, South America, Europe, Africa. Europe and Africa. Okay alva? 25 class August ರಲ್ಲಿ all the countries should be in your tips. At least at the capital location at least ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕು ನಿಮಗೆ. That was my assurance also. ಬಂದೇ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. Yes, but ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಅಟ್ಲಾಸ್ ತರಬೇಕು. And you should plot. You should plot also. This is about our the second ocean and the third ocean ಯಾವ್ದಿಲ್ಲಿ? It is Indian Ocean. The third ocean we call it as Indian Ocean. ನೋಡಿ Indian Ocean ಯಾವ್ದು ಬಾರ್ಡರ್ ಆಗಿದಾವೆ? ಒಂದು ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಗಾದ್ರೆ we have Africa. We have Africa. ನಾರ್ತ್ ಗಾದ್ರೆ we have Asia ಇದೆ. ಈಸ್ಟ್ ಗಾದ್ರೆ we have Australia. But south ಗೆ it is Antarctica. ಇದನ್ನ ಮರ್ತ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ. But south ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಆಗಿ we have what? We have Antarctica. We have Antarctica. Yes or no? We have Antarctica. And the fourth ocean, which is the fourth ocean? It is the fourth ocean. The fourth ocean we call it as it is Antarctic Ocean or Southern Ocean ಅಂತ ಕೂಡ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. Antarctic Ocean or Southern Ocean. Nothing but ocean which is surrounding ಎಲ್ಲಿ? Which is surrounding. It is Antarctic continent. Which is surrounding the Antarctica continent, we call it as a Southern Ocean or Antarctica Ocean, or we call it as Antarctica Ocean. Exactly, yes, exactly, perfect online, exactly. Okay, wrong. That is the fourth one. Perfect. I'm happy. At least you can identify ಮಾಡಾಕತ್ತಿದೆ and you are able to. It is answer the questions also. That is our fourth one. And the last one we call it as. It is Arctic Ocean. It is Arctic Ocean. Okay alva? Arctic Ocean which is spread across ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ. It is Asia ಇದೆ, Europe ಇದೆ, at the same time North America ಕೂಡ. It is we have a complete the Arctic Ocean. Yes, this is about our the second one. First one ನೋಡಿದ್ವಿ, continent ನೋಡಿದ್ವಿ. Now which is the largest continent? It is Asia. It is the largest one, we call it as the Asia. The largest is Asia and the smallest ಯಾವುದು? The smallest one we call it as Australian continent. It is also called as Oceania ಅಂತ. It is Australia ಖಂಡ, the smallest, ಅತಿ ಚಿಕ್ಕದಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. And the largest one we call it as it is Asia. The largest one we call it as the Asia continent ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. The Asia, the one. Now sir, now ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ now observe 0 degree passes through. Now 0 degree equator, 20.5 ಅಂದ್ರೆ Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn, Arctic Circle, Antarctic Circle, South Pole and North Pole. At least ಇಷ್ಟು at least ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ ನಿಮಗೆ. ನಾವು ಈಗ 0 degree equator ನೋಡೋಣ. ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಇದನ್ನ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. 0 degree equator passes through which all continents? ಈಕ್ವೇಟರ್ ಯಾವ ಖಂಡದ ಮೂಲಕ ಹಾದು ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ನೋಡೋಣ. ಈಗ ಯಾವ್ದು ಅಂತ? It is 0 degree passes through which all? It is the first and the foremost one. It passes through. It is, observe ಮಾಡಿ, it is ಏಷ್ಯಾ ಮೂಲಕ ಪಾಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಿದ್ಯಾ? It is ಏಷ್ಯಾ ಅಲ್ವಾ ಇದು? It is Asia. And the second one, India ಮೂಲಕ ಪಾಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಿದ್ಯಾ? 0 degree? No. It is to the south of India. To the south of India, Maldives. Observe Maldives ಇದೆಯಾ ಅಂತ? Maldives ಪಕ್ಕ ಇದೆ. And what about the second continent? ಇದು ಏಷ್ಯಾ ಖಂಡ, ಇದು ಆಫ್ರಿಕಾ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಕಾಂಟಿನೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ನೋಡೋಣ, ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಕಂಟ್ರೀಸ್. ನಿಮ್ ಕಾಂಟಿನೆಂಟ್ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕಂಟ್ರೀಸ್ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ? It is the second ಯಾವ continent? It is Africa. And the third continent we call it as South America ಮೂಲಕ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಮೇಜರ್ ಕಂಟ್ರಿ ಯಾವುದು ಸರ್ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಈಕ್ವೆಡಾರ್. ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಈಕ್ವೆಡಾರ್. It is Ecuador It is equator passes through Ecuador. Brazil ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಪಾಸ್ ಆಗತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ? This is with respect to our first set of famous one, we call it as equator ಅಂತ. Now to the north of equator north of equator, observe the Tropic of the Cancer. Now Tropic of Cancer passes through how many continents? ಮತ್ತೆ ನೋಡಿ, it is ಏಷ್ಯಾ ಮೂಲಕ ಪಾಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಿದ್ಯಾ, ಚೈನಾ ಮೂಲಕ ಪಾಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ ನೋಡಿ. Yes or no? ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಪಟ್ಪಟ್ ಅಂತ. It is China. Which China? Southernmost China. Southernmost China. ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಮಯನ್ಮಾರ್ ನೋಡಿ, ಮಯನ್ಮಾರ್ ಮೂಲಕ ಹೋಗ್ತಿದ್ಯಾ, ಆಟೋಮ್ಯಾಟಿಕಲಿ ಆಗ್ಲೇಬೇಕು. ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ, ಬಾಂಗ್ಲಾದೇಶ್, ಎಸ್, ಹಂಗೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟೆಂಡ್ ಆಗ್ತಿದ್ರೆ ಡಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಪಾಸಸ್ ಥ್ರೂ ಪಾಕಿಸ್ತಾನ್? ನೋ. ಓಷನ್ ಆರ್ ಅರೇಬಿಯನ್ ಸಿ ಮೂಲಕ ಅದು ಹೋಗ್ತಿದೆ, ಅರೇಬಿಯನ್ ಸಿ ಮೂಲಕ. ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್, ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಆಸ್, ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಅರೇಬಿಯನ್ ಪೆನಿನ್ಸುಲಾ. ಇದು ಅರೇಬಿಯನ್, ಆ ಪೆನಿನ್ಸುಲಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ 3 sides surrounded by water, 3 ಕಡೆ ವಾಟರ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಆಸ್ ಪೆನಿನ್ಸುಲಾ. ಎಸ್, ಅದನ್ನ ಹಂಗೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟೆಂಡ್ ಆಗ್ತಿದ್ರೆ ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಆಸ್ ಆಫ್ರಿಕಾ. ಆಫ್ರಿಕಾ ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ನೋಡಿ, ಸೌತ್ ಅಮೆರಿಕಾ ಮೂಲಕ ಹೋಗ್ತೀವಿ, ನಾರ್ತ್ ಅಮೆರಿಕಾ ಮೂಲಕನ? ನಾರ್ತ್ ಅಮೆರಿಕಾ, ನಾರ್ತ್ ಅಮೆರಿಕಾ. ಓಕೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಟ್ರಾಪಿಕ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಕೇಪ್ರಿಕಾನ್. ಟ್ರಾಪಿಕ್ ಆಫ್ ಕೇಪ್ರಿಕಾನ್, ಇದೊಂದು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಇನ್ ಅ ಪೊಸಿಷನ್ ಟು ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಈಚ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಎವ್ರಿ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ರಿಲೇಟೆಡ್ ಟು ದ ಕ್ಲೈಮೇಟ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಟೆಂಪರೇಚರ್, ಫಾರ್ ಬೈ ಮಳೆ ಎಲ್ಲಾಗತ್ತೆ, ಸಾಯಿಲ್ ಟೈಪ್ ಏನು, ವಾಟ್ ಟೈಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ಆಕ್ಟಿವಿಟಿ, ಈಚ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಎವ್ರಿಥಿಂಗ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಡಿಸೈಡ್. Each and everything you can decide with respect to those concepts. ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಟ್ರಾಪಿಕ್ ಆಫ್ ಕೇಪ್ರಿಕಾನ್ ಯಾವ್ಯಾವ ಕಾಂಟಿನೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಮೂಲಕ ಹೋಗ್ತಿದೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಇಸ್, ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಆಸ್ಟ್ರೇಲಿಯಾ. ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಆಫ್ರಿಕಾ ನೋಡಿ, ಏಷ್ಯಾ ಮೂಲಕ ಹೋಗ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ಆಫ್ರಿಕಾ. ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಸೌತ್ ಅಮೆರಿಕಾ. Now which is the continent, which is that continent? It is all the three, it is, I can say, the most important latitudes passes through antandre it is Africa. Africa is the only continent. Africa is the only continent. There is the presence of what? Cancer. Equator is divided in the complete or the middle of, I can say, the continent. And the third one we call it as the Capricorn also. It is ಮೂರು ಹಾದು ಹೋಗ್ತಿದೆ. ಕ್ಯಾನ್ಸರ್ ಕೂಡ ಈಕ್ವೇಟರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಮಿಡಲ್ ಹೋಗ್ತಿದೆ. And the south one we call it as a Cancer. ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ it is the South America. We call it as the South America. Exactly, yes. The South America. ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ we have two important, I can say, the circles. One we call it as Arctic Circle. Now Arctic ನೋಡಿ, ಏಷ್ಯಾ ಮೂಲಕ ಹೋಗ್ತಿದ್ಯಾ, ಏಷ್ಯಾ ಮೂಲಕ ಹೌದು. ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಯುರೋಪ್ ಮೂಲಕ, ಎಸ್. And the last one we call it as North America. North America. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಮಗ್ಗಪ್ ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದು, ಬಟ್ ಐಡೆಂಟಿಫೈ ಮಾಡಿ ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿದೆ ಅಂತ, ಬಟ್ ಆಟೋಮ್ಯಾಟಿಕ್ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ಅಂಟಾರ್ಟಿಕ್ ಸರ್ಕಲ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ, ಅಂಟಾರ್ಟಿಕ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು ಕಾಂಟಿನೆಂಟ್, ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಆಸ್ Antarctica. We call it as Antarctica. Not even South America, not even it is Africa also. Not even Africa also. Yes, at least ಇದು ಗೊತ್ತಿರಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿ ಪಾಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. And in the upcoming classes we will take up one by one equator ಮೂಲಕ ಯಾವ ಕಂಟ್ರಿ ಯಾವ್ದು ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ. ಬಟ್ ಮೊದಲು ಕಾಂಟಿನೆಂಟ್ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಲಿ, ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಓಷನ್ಸ್ ಯಾವುದು, ಫಾಲೋಡ್ ಬೈ if you at least know about few basics, the basics. Okay alva, done. This is about the, it is as simple as that. The first most important latitudes, now we have started with respect to our theme 2. Our theme 2 nalli we have discussed about latitudes. Okay alva, we have discussed about latitudes, and tomorrow we will be starting with respect to longitudes ಬಗ್ಗೆ discuss ಮಾಡಿ. I'll be applying the same blueprint, and the second one will be tomorrow will be about the motions. ಆ motions ಅಲ್ಲಿ rotation ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನೋಡ್ತೀವಿ, and the second one will be discussing about it is revolution. And rotation ಅಲ್ಲಿ I'll be discussing about how days are formed, how nights are formed. ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ revolution ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ we will be discussing about aphelion, it is perihelion andre eno. Forby we will be discussing about seasons, the summer solstice, winter, autumn, spring, all these things I'll be discussing tomorrow. Adadmele we'll be ending our the chapter 1. We'll be ending our chapter 1, and second chapter will be with respect to origin and the evolution of, I can say, the earth. Origin and evolution of earth. Yes. Okay, Alva. Done. This is with respect to your complete. The aspects of what? The complete aspects of the day 2. The complete aspect of the day 2. Yes. Okay, Alva. Done. Idadmele. I'll take some questions. Now online as well as offline. If there is any doubts, okay. Yes. From tomorrow it will be. Now from tomorrow we'll be migrating to the paid class. Okay, Alva. From tomorrow it will be. It is a paid class. Others being join agi. First is this. And the second one, please explain about savanna type of climate. Yes. Now sir, I'll be discussing about not only about savanna, I'll be discussing about steppy type of climate also. Now savanna as simple as that. ಏನು ಸರಿ savanna ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ it is tropical grassland ಅಂತ ಕರೀತೀವಿ. ಕೇಳಿದಿರಾ? It is the tropical grassland which is majorly found in a region. We call it as savanna. And this savanna, it is present in where? It is present in Africa. Which is present in Africa. I'll be discussing all those things, but as of now, it is a tropical, the grassland which is present in Africa. Exactly, yes. It is the countries ಬಗ್ಗೆ. It is, I'll be discussing about countries also tomorrow. It is countries also. ಯಾವ country ಮೂಲಕ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ, we'll be discussing that also. Okay ಅಲ್ವಾ? South East ಏಷ್ಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದು? It is followed by South Asiaದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದು, ಆಫ್ರಿಕಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದು, it is Central African countries, followed by South American. We'll discuss one by one. It is, I'll be discussing that. Okay, alone. Yes. Online, yes, I'll be handling the current affairs part also with respect to geography. Yes. Okay, alone. I hope there is no doubt. And this is all for today. Thank you. See you all tomorrow. Okay, alone. Now online, I hope you guys enjoyed the class. If that is the case, just give a like, comment. Okay, Alvam? Yes? Thank you. See you all tomorrow. Thank you, Chaitra. Thank you, Seema. Thank you, Pradeep. Thank you very much. Truth. Thank you. Sanya. Thank you. Thank you, Fareed. Thank you. Bapu, thank you. Seema, thank you. Yes, from tomorrow the same time, 6 p.m. SD rain. Yes, exactly. Yes, Prasanna, thank you. See you all tomorrow. Varsha, thank you. Thank you very much. Just give a like before leaving.